Alright, so if you guys didn't think we get enough Lance Cavalry in this game, I wanted you to take a moment to look at this and count how many Lance Cavs we have that are GHB, 4-star focus, or potentially just demotes. Right there. And these are just the recent ones too. This is sorted by BST. Yep, it's a third. A third Lance Cavs. Seems to be about the default for us. Let's do this thing.
Let the lesson begin.
What's up, guys? Akariss here, bringing another Fire Emblem Heroes video. Today's video is probably not exciting for many of you, because honestly, the freebie is not that exciting. It being Luthier, of course, from the most recent Tempest Trials. But I'll do my diligence here and show you guys as much info as I can on Luthier, or I guess you can just call this a Lance Cavalry review, because that's ultimately what it is. So for you guys who are super fans of Luthier, then this video is for you, and you will get something out of this where you're like, okay, here's what I can make Luthier relevant in today's game. For the rest of you, this is a Lance Cavalry video, an updated one to maybe put him to him or anyone else to good use, because there's literally so many of them. In fact, even through the past few months, you'll see that Roshea and Owain are here. And if you look all the way down to the bottom, we even have NY Legyarn and Finn, who, well, Finn has like a preference weapon, whereas NY Legyarn is about as old as it gets. So yeah, when it comes to the fact that we get 24, potentially even a little bit more, freebie units in a month, or in a year rather, 24 freebies in a year, and they just keep throwing these Lance Cavs at us, it can obviously be a bit disappointing, because there's a lot of things they could do that just make it more exciting. Even if they don't want to give us preference weapons and they just want to give us fodder, that's fine, but Lance Cav is not the way to do it, and ultimately many of you will be disappointed, but hey, we're still here, and we're going to talk about Luthier and what he potentially brings to the game in terms of fodder, his stat spread, allies, and putting him to use. Even though it might not be much, a discussion is always warranted. So, first thing you'll notice here is this is all sorted by stat totals, and we also have the attack speed, defense, and res also shown here. Now, don't want to be disappointing any of you, but Luthier does not stand out in anything. And honestly, before I even get further into Luthier, let's show some love for the video by smashing the like button and subbing, because this one does take some iron will to talk about, because it's not exciting for me to put it together as much as it is for you to understand why Luthier is in this game. But yeah, let's do that. Now I'll continue. So Luthier does not stand out in any way. His attack, his speed, his defense, and his res. He's literally the definition of a generalist, middling Lance Cav. He doesn't have the highest speed, he doesn't have the highest attack, he doesn't have the highest defense, nor does he have the highest res among pretty much anyone here in, let's say, the last year or two. And this even includes GHB units in a lot of ways, such as Fernand having more attack, or in terms of speed, we'd have, I mean, either tying with someone like Roshea, or, losing to someone like Owain, or Brave Erica, just completely outclassing him because of her preference weapon and being a freebie, or someone like Petrine who has a preference weapon, Ingrid having the same res as him. So there's just, or Doiso and Zeke, like, it just, the list goes on. He just kind of doesn't excel at anything in particular. This is a problem because being a generalist generally is not too good as being a specialist in any particular role. So yeah, we're going to talk about him, of course, and where he stands, but I guess where we should start is honestly what I think of him, which would be under me, and of course the fodder that he provides. So, for those of you that like Delthea, well, Luthier is the brother. Comes from a good game. Go play Shadows of Valencia. That Lance that you get at 5-star for free, because of course you get a free 5-star, is good fodder. You don't have to spend 20k feathers. Cons. He's a Lance Cav. Doesn't excel at anything. Generalist stat spread. Probably not worth your grails, unless you're a Luthier superfan, in which case this video is very much for you. So in terms of fodder, we have reposition, which is whatever. Attack Defense Bond, which was previously on quite a few characters, including Rutger from way back when, and Attack Defense Snag, which isn't worth talking about because snag skills have no place in the current game in terms of meta relevancy. So the last thing that we can consider is maybe this lance itself. So the lance itself is a pseudo type of broadleaf kind of extra attack based on enemy penalties type of weapon. And this is okay because it does technically bring a sort of new-ish strategy you can run. The condition isn't too bad, as it's a faux 75% HP or penalty, and if you're going to use this weapon anyways, then penalties should be used in some sort of long-range fashion. So the weapon can find some special use, and I will cover it, of course, in some of these later build showcases. But yeah, that's like pretty much the extent of that one. Now, if you want to use them, let's say in Arena, then a B-Dual Cav is still going to be required. B-Dual Cav 4. Curtains as inheritable fodder, in my opinion, is even better than Slaying Lance if you have access to it. And then because he's a Cav, you should take high advantage of his mobility through Trace skills, Gale Force, and Heavy Blade. If you choose to actually use the Carrot Tip Spear, another alternative option here could be Attack Defense Menace, which would synergize really well with Carrot Tip Spear. However, he's going to act more as like a hit and run mobility unit, I feel like, if you were to invest into him for Arena. And again, because his stat spread is so middling, he can likely serve as a dual phase unit. He's going to be just fast enough, just have enough attack, and have enough bulk to potentially do 2 phases. That's the beauty of a generalist. However, it's also the weakness, because obviously in a year or two, his stat spread will be very sad compared to the next Lance Cav, which we will inevitably get. Finally, for those of you that don't want to do a super invested build, but let's say you don't want to waste grails and you actually like Luthier, then honestly, you could just do something like this. Just use the +1, give him a little bit of flowers, give him Heavy Blade, Wings of Mercy, Blade Session with a Slaying Lance, and you can throw him into a Wings of Mercy Gale Force team for ARO. This is totally viable, and because of his recency for the stat spread, it can work on him, and it doesn't require much investment at all. For those of you that just want to like throw him into a team and use him, or maybe at least if you want to for something like his bonus seasons, that could work as well. But the more hyper invested stuff, which we will touch into right now, is going to be these builds. All right. So, Lance Cavalry and hyper-invested Luthier fans. If you have access to some of this premium fodder, then this is about as good as it gets for Luthier. You have the Gale Force Initiator build on the far left, using Trace, Fury, Curtains. If you combine all that stuff, he can work pretty well to go in and out, and of course, activate or set up tons of Wings of Mercies to come in and sweep the enemy team. The beauty of the Carrot Tip Spear is that it can be used in a similar fashion to Vantage broadleaf strategies, which means that access to Distant Storm, Vantage, and of course debuffs on the enemy team in the form of attack and defense, which can be provided through something like a Versa or Reeve, is a great way to do it. Sabotage defense, sabotage attack also come to mind, such as Mila carrying sabotage attack. But sabotage defense likely won't be as easily available, but either way there is some long range support that can work with this. So I do think the Carrot Tip Spear can be used really well there. However, there are better units with an attack stat that can do it better, such as Fernand. Really simple as that. Finally, because of his generalist stat spread, tanking with Far Save is also an option. So if you have the Piercing Tribute, or you want to save up for it again when it comes back on a double special, this is the lance that came from Owain, which gives self-null follow-up. This is a great tanking weapon. Combine it with Near Trace, and you have a little bit of a mobility, and of course, just great tank stats to be able to make full advantage of this. Combining with Far Save enables the A slot to be open, so you can run a guard effect such as Kestrel Stance 3, or Mirror Stance 3, or anything you have access to, and you have a actual decent tank option. However, at the end of the day, there's just other Lance Cavs that you probably want to invest into that can run very similar builds in a similar or better fashion. And I am, of course, kind of sad that I have to say it, but it is what it is, And of course, this is not going to be the most exciting of reviews. Now, if you wanted the allies or supports for these type of roles, then it goes without saying that for Vantage tank support or just Vantage support, Muspel is great, but Corrin can work as well just to pump up attack. Access to Sudden Panic works really well. Reeve, recently released with Argent Aura, has -5 to all stats, along with the stall effect. Combine that with a Sudden Panic, and you have the potential to really inflict a lot of debuffs, which synergize well with Carrot Tip Spear. Gale Force support on Valoria, but also notably Raphael, is missing from here, would be great options. So even to this day, male Corrin with Yato, Valoria, who's going to be due for Refine soonish, actually, and her acceleration for helping out Gale Force strategies, and of course Reeve and his Argent Aura, which you guys probably can't even see, but I will make it a bit bigger, are great ways of supporting your team. So yeah, that's pretty much my all in all here, folks, for Luthier. I'm not going to really talk more about this. If you are a Luthier fan, then I congratulate you on getting a character potentially worth building, but at the end of the day, this is a skip investment for many and likely fodder for Carrot Tip Spear or maybe Attack Defense Bond into Attack Defense Bond 4. Snag is not too great, or likely just somebody who sits in the barracks for all eternity. That's it for me, folks. Enjoy the video, or you enjoy at least me putting in the effort to make this video, then consider just smashing the like button, as it does go a really long way. Subbing is also something I asked for, and if you want to check me out further, Twitch, Patreon, even the YouTube membership button do help me quite a lot. Thank you, folks. See you in the next one. Much love. Peace.
It's over.